Hey guys, welcome to a little dating advice session. So a little bit about me is my name is Em. Um, I am gay. So all this advice is coming from my experience dating women as a woman, but I think you can definitely apply it to whoever you're dating. It's pretty general. So obviously, these are all from my personal experience of dating in the last few years. I've learnt a lot in a very short time frame. So, yeah, enjoy. Um, the number one, the one that kind of made me want to make this little advice thing is something I learned, and the first time I did it, I didn't learn my lesson. So, it took me two tries, and I probably still haven't learned it. And that is, if you are freshly 18, I'm talking like high school, finishing high school, like A-levels, college. If you're in the US, I don't know what that is, but if you're freshly 18, do not mess with uni students. Do not just until you get to uni, just don't do it. I mean, my advice would be, unless you're in uni, don't get with uni students, whatever your age, because I just think uni is such a weird little time, that I think uni students should only date each other. When I was 18, I saw a third year uni student, so she was turning 21, I was 18, and then after that I saw a first year, which doesn't sound bad on paper, 18 and 19, but there were still problems that it was our kind of year difference ended up being what the end problem was that meant we stopped talking. I just would not put yourself in that situation. I know, like, on Hinge, like, you know, you're 18, that's an adult, and then someone will come up that's 19 and you think, oh, that's not a bad age difference, it's fine. But then you go, I'm doing my A-levels, and they go, oh, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, some of them will go, yeah, that's chill, but I think it's a weird one, because I don't think a lot of people will go for it, and I don't think that anyone should go for it. I don't think you should put yourself in that position, because it's gonna end in disaster, I can pretty much guarantee. Now, my next one, I briefly touched on just then. Delete Hinge. Hinge is... You're not going to find the love of your life on Hinge. I've tried, and so far, no luck. I mean, I think that Hinge can distort your perception of dating, definitely. I mean, ghosting is just so normal, and it's just so weird to me. I can't really wrap my head around it, and I say this with Hinge installed on my phone, but I just don't really like the idea of dating apps. But I think, especially if your dating pool is quite small, like mine, it is tempting, and it is, you know, you do find people that are your type and stuff like that, but nope, it's not gonna work. And I guess if you are gonna use it, I think be very selective about who you like, because I think I tend to fall into the trap of, if someone is vaguely, upon first impression, good, you give them a like, and then they match you, and you think, what was I doing? This person, I don't find this person attractive, and now they've just messaged me and we've matched. And, you know, that happening once, I don't think it weighs down heavily on you, but I think if you frequently do that, I think it does start to have an effect on your on how you perceive dating and your attitudes towards dating. And I don't think they are positive ones. I think the normalization of kind of ghosting is not a good one. I mean, of course, I say this having I have done a fair share of ghosting, I won't lie. I think, you know, when you have talked to someone for like 24 hours, it doesn't feel like you need to kind of make it a thing if you are going to stop talking to them. And I do agree with that. I think that's fine. Where I don't agree is ghosting after even a week. I mean, I'm saying this as I'm currently being left undelivered for, well, it's 6 p.m. now, and I haven't heard from them since last night, so I think that may be done, and that maybe that's why I'm saying this, but who cares? What kind of links to that is holding people to the same standard that you hold yourself to. And by that I mean, I think, you know, it's easy to, if someone does ghost you, say, look for reasons, want to have answers. I'm talking after a week of seeing each other, or, you know, a few days, nothing serious. Of saying, you know, what was wrong? What did I do wrong? You know, are they not attracted to me, or something like that? It's very easy to start kind of asking those questions, but I think when you are the person that is doing the ghosting, I find myself not really thinking about that. Most of the time it's just, I don't really feel like talking to anyone really right now, so I'm just gonna not answer this person, and, you know, because it's not serious, you know, I don't need to make it a thing. But yeah, that's what I mean. So remind yourself of how you feel when you're on the other side, because I guarantee you it won't be a big deal, it won't be personal. It never is personal, really, because you don't know them personally, so it can't be personal, you know? Yeah. The next one is, there's two, really. There's two things that I would never accept from someone. The first one is, don't let anyone dull your sparkle. And I think this one is particularly something that I've seen with the rise of kind of the word nonchalant. I think everyone likes to throw it around, and everyone likes to reject it, kind of being like, oh, I promise I'm not nonchalant, like, I'm not like that. But I think, from my experience, the people that say they're nonchalant, it's the complete opposite. You know, they are the most judgy, and they'll probably ghost you after you say something that, like, is slightly out of the ordinary for a talking stage. I mean, I've always hated talking stages, I know everyone does, but I can't deal with the monotonous conversations, so I like to jazz it up a bit, and I think most of the time that not really intimidates, but it throws people off, and they end up ghosting me, and that's fine. And I move on from that situation not changing the fact that I'm not just going to be like, hey, what'd you do? It's just boring, and the right person will match your vibe. And then the next one is, don't let anyone make you feel bad for liking sex. So this one actually really isn't in a relationship way, but I just threw it in there because I was thinking about kind of relationships and sex and hookup culture, and I think especially as a girl, it's less common for girls to actually, want sex, like sex, than guys. You kind of just expect it from guys. But I think especially being gay, your relationship to sex is different, and I think a lot of people don't expect some of the things that I come out with and say, because I'm very open about liking sex. It's just the way I am. But I think I will always be loud and proud about it. And yeah, don't let anyone make you feel weird or like a freak, because you're not. You're just human. And most of the time, the people that like sex are having great sex. So, yeah. And so that kind of leads on to hookup culture, kind of. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being quote unquote easy. I mean, I have done it after a second date, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think sometimes you just immediately become comfortable with a person, and if you're in the right mindset to make a decision, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I once, to tell a little funny story, I went back to a girl's house, and this was after the second date, as I said, and this was her family house, so her parents were at home, and obviously it's a bit weird bringing back a girl that they've never met, so I had to pretend to be her friend from when she was at school, that the parents had never met, but they knew her by name. So I had to answer to a different name, and I also had to pretend that I went to a university I had never visited and did a degree in, I think it was photography, which I have obviously never studied, so had to do some little thinking on the spot when I was talking to her dad, which was fun. But apparently they weren't suspicious, so must have done a great job. What's next? Next, we'll talk about revenge. So, obviously, if you've had a breakup or anything where it's kind of ended badly, naturally, one of the kind of initial feelings is wanting to get revenge. I definitely did. The same girl that I just told the story about, we talked after and we got extremely close. She went to university in Tennessee, so we FaceTimed every day like clockwork, and she obviously is from England, so I had to wait until she was going to come home for the summer, and she said, I'm going to ask you to be my girlfriend and all that stuff, and I believed her because I thought she was into me. Yeah, she broke it off after 3 months, and I know 3 months doesn't seem like a long time, and now I'm saying this, it sounds stupid, but you sometimes just get really close really fast, and I had 2 of her hoodies that she mailed to me, and she made a point that these were some of her favourite hoodies, and she really wanted them back, So when she broke it off, she failed to mention that she was talking to someone else, coincidentally with the same name as me. And she asked her to be her girlfriend a month after we stopped talking, which is fine, whatever. I didn't really care about that. The thing that I did care about is I was more angry at myself because she said some things that I didn't necessarily agree with. She had some views that I let slide. And actually, while I'm on this point, another piece of advice: if the person you're seeing says something that makes you feel uncomfortable or something that just sticks in your mind, always tell your friends. Doesn't matter how big or how small you may think it is, if it makes you feel some type of way that's like, oh, I didn't like that, tell them, because they will hold that person to a higher standard than you will, because they have no connection to that person. They don't like that person. They're not going to let shitty things slide. So, yeah. Anyway, I didn't tell my friends some of the things that she was saying, and I wish I did, because they would have slapped me across the face. And I just let it slide because I liked her. And, yeah. And so, she broke it off, got with this girl, was posting this girl everywhere for me to see, and it was great, and I was like, ugh, this is horrid, she has the same name as me. I just want to, like, block her and for her to leave me alone, but obviously she was like, oh, I think we should see each other, because she broke it off over the phone, obviously, because she was in Tennessee. Oh, I think we should see each other for closure, and I knew it wasn't about closure because she didn't care about me. She had someone else. It was because she wanted an excuse to get her hoodies back, obviously. And I deep down knew that because she was very attached to these hoodies. But I had no proof. So one day she messaged me after we went no contact, and I was wondering when she was going to ask for these hoodies back, because it was going to happen. She messaged me, hey, do you want to meet up? I'm back in the UK. And I didn't reply. And she said, oh, also, can you bring my hoodies? And I was like, there we go. Bingo. There's my proof. And, you know, I was like, hey, I don't really feel like traveling for your convenience to give you these hoodies back because of everything that has gone on. So they'll be here in a box in my house. You can come and get them if you want. And she said, yeah, that's okay, that's fine, that works. And that was the plan. But then she messaged me being like, hey, I can't come pick them up. Could you mail them to me? And I was like, I don't really want to do you any favors right now, but sure, whatever. I was in a good mood, obviously, so I said, sure, what's your address? And she then posted loads of videos. Oh, look at my girlfriend. Oh, she's great and stuff. And, you know, I did the whole going through the reposts, and there was little jabs at, you know, how just stuff I didn't like. And then I thought back to who she was as a person and the views I didn't agree with, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm actually good. So I drafted up this long message being like, hey, I don't like your views on stuff, and I think you should seriously rethink them, especially with the career that she was going into. She was going into social work, and I was like, you should seriously rethink this from some of the things you've said. But yeah, I ended the message with basically, I'm not going to ship them back. I'm actually going to sell them and donate to a charity. And the charity was supporting something that she had kind of mentioned, kind of in a, you know, it's something that she disagreed with. It was, I can just say, it was, she was pro-gun, so, which is as an English person, definitely not something I agree with. And she also has some other views that align more closely with Republicans, I guess you could say. Yeah. So the whole point of that story, to make a kind of message, is initially I was going to send them back to her, but I was going to glitter bomb her. And as immature as that sounds, I really wanted to do that. I was desperate to get revenge. But I sat and thought about it, and I was just like, you know what, blocking her and kind of giving these hoodies to a charity shop or selling them and giving the money to a charity shop, that would make me feel a lot better than doing something immature and stupid, so that she could, it would give her a chance to say, oh, she's so mature, to this new girl. Yeah, I didn't want to give her anything to be like, oh, she's so stupid. Because the message that I sent was very well articulated and mature, and I was proud of it, and yeah, I think that left me with a lot less regret. And I didn't do it for her sake, I did it for my sake, to avoid regret. So I think overall, obviously, when you're dating, the thing with dating is, when you're dating, like casually, like dating lots of people, I don't mean like in a relationship, it is so lonely. And even though you're seeing so many people, it is one of the most lonely things, I think, to kind of have to start over again every 5 seconds, because, people are used to kind of casually dating. It's really lonely. So in that situation, the only person that's going to look out for you is you. So just always put your best interests first when dating. And yeah, talk to your friends, talk to your family. I mean, I think it can get exhausting for people around you when you're constantly talking about the people you're dating. I know that sometimes happens with me, because I like to talk about the people I'm seeing, but I think if it's important, then they'll listen, and they can give you advice, maybe some humbling, maybe you need it. I know I have in the past. But yeah, that's kind of it. Maybe I'll do another one if I can think of anything else. But for now, I'll try and take my own advice. You can take my advice if you want or not. I don't mind. If there's one thing, if you are... Well, my last final words are YOLO. But if you're 18, if you're not in university, don't date university students. Okay, bye!